The Psychology of Atheists, Beyond the Mere Absence of Belief. We are studying the mind that rejects the supernatural. Atheism is not a unique trait, but a complex set of cognitive mechanisms. Visually, we first distinguish the analytical thinker. The psychology of the atheist is often linked to System 2 thinking. It is the slow, logical, and deliberate process. A strong correlation is observed with the capacity to deactivate the ontological intuitions. The atheistic mind has a low tolerance for unresolved conceptual ambiguity. They demonstrate a high need for cognition. They prefer to dissect complex problems rather than accept simple answers. We illustrate this by the concept of cognitive decoupling, ability to simulate scenarios without emotional belief. It is the suspension of judgment in the face of a powerful idea. Second pillar, personal autonomy and the rejection of authority. Numerous studies highlight the role of parental attachment. Atheists often report less intimate or more distant relationships with their parental figures. Psychologically, this translates to a low propensity to accept transcendent authority. God, viewed as a father figure, is less relevant. The individual tends to establish themselves as the sole moral authority unto themselves. We observe a high valuation of intellectual independence. Social and religious conformity is actively questioned. Now let's consider the moral aspect. The idea that atheists lack morality is a psychological myth. The foundation of their ethics is simply misplaced. Morality does not come from divine command, but from human ethical reasoning. They rely on empathy and the consequences of actions, consequentialism. The focus is on reciprocal altruism and global collective well-being. The meaning of life is constructed. It is not revealed. It often takes the form of heritage, scientific progress, or humanism. Let's turn to the existential and emotional aspects. How does the atheist deal with the anguish of death? The refusal of personal immortality can generate acute existential anxiety. However, there is also a release from the stress related to eternal judgment. The atheist focuses on the quality of the present moment, the secular carpe diem. The mechanisms of psychological support differ. They do not seek comfort in prayer or divine fate. They use critical thinking and secular community support. Grief is treated as a definitive loss, valuing the memory of the departed rather than their future fate. In terms of personality, atheists often exhibit higher levels of openness to experience, intellectual curiosity, and disposition to explore unconventional ideas. They also show, on average, less neuroticism related to traditional moral guilt. There is diversity within atheism itself. Strong atheists, conviction, differ psychologically from weak atheists. Indifference. Militant or anti-theistic atheists are often motivated by a sense of social or intellectual injustice. The atheist brain is less likely to activate brain regions associated with theory of mind during religious tasks. They do not easily attribute intentions or emotions to invisible entities. In summary, the psychology of atheism rests on three major pillars: the need for analytical coherence, the quest for strong personal autonomy, and a moral framework based on human empathy. It is not a lack, but an alternative mental structure, a psychological stance promoting intellectual freedom and self-determination.